What's up, guys? Regiment in this podcast is brought to you by G Fuel, the ultimate energy drink for gamers. G Fuel uses a special blend of vitamins, antioxidants, and other natural caffeine resources to keep you from having those jitters or even that crash that you normally would have from other energy drink brands. So whether you're having a long gaming session or you're just having a long day and need a pick-me-up, G Fuel definitely has you covered. G Fuel also has a wide array of flavors to choose from. But if you don't know what flavor you want to try, they also sell variety packs on their website, and they even come with a cool shaker. So head on over to gfuel.com and use promo code REGIMENT at checkout to get up to 30% off. That is REGIMENT, promo code REGIMENT down here at checkout to get up to 30% off. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Smoke Pit Podcast. I am Brock, joined with Doc. It is both of us again. You know,
we're on limited time with the Smoke Pit.
Yeah, we're on limited time with the Smoke Pit. We were gonna announce the name change soon, but the graphic is being done by a designer, and we're not gonna announce the name change until all that graphical shit is done, because this doesn't seem, I don't have anything. I don't have any assets for it. It'd just be very weird to not have an intro video or anything else.
You got some nice assets.
Huh?
What?
I got some nice ass what?
I said you got some nice assets.
Nice ass hats.
Never mind.
ETA.
So far over your head.
Is this a reference for the Navy that I don't even understand? Nice ass ets.
It's a play on words.
Oh, ETS. Or
no.
What are you saying? What are you fucking saying? It's over my head, but I guarantee you that people who are watching this don't know what you're saying either.
They do.
They do. Well, care to fucking elaborate?
Yeah. It's just a play on words. I don't know what else to say.
I don't care anymore. Anyway, so we're back. We're back for another week of the Smoke Pit. Don't know how much longer. It's probably gonna be like October-ish or after TwitchCon for sure when we change it. We got some new jerseys.
I'm looking forward to it.
If I'm being honest, I like the old red one better than the new one.
My bank account is not happy with me.
My bank account's not happy with me currently, and I didn't even buy any of those yet. And that's because I've been spending a lot of money on this fucking prepping for this Norway trip, dude.
Imagine what it's going to be like if we ever get the branch specific ones.
Oh, dude. I will say this.
We will sell. I think we'll sell far more than we do our regular ones.
That new blue and red one those are like, that looks like some Marine Corps colors right there. You saw that one? The kind of like the dark blue and red one.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the dress uniform.
Like the uniform, where it looks like the uniform colors.
I'm interested to see if I were to guess if we do branch specific ones, which I'm sure are going to come at some point, they'll probably be more not look like the uniform, but more like the color scheme.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Of the uniform.
But which uniform?
All of them.
No, for each branch, would it be the color scheme of the dress uniform, of the camis?
No, it's got to be the camos.
That's going to be tough because the Air Force camos is the same as the Army.
No, well, we'll just go back to the gray digi.
Don't you fucking... No. No. I would rather fucking cut off my dick and eat it than ever wear something ACU pattern again. Dude, everybody in the Army knows how useless that pattern was, how shitty that pattern was. Like, we all fucking hated it. And
it wasn't as useless and shitty as the Navy's aquaflage.
The aquaflage, okay, let's be honest. The Navy never really fucking goes out and, like, does anything really much to fucking warrant fatigues anyway. Like, they just needed something to get rid of the old woodland camo uniforms that they had, right? So they needed something, and everybody was going to that digital pattern. It was like, well, and to me, it was distinguishable. It was like, oh, that's the Navy.
Yeah, but not in water. It's not.
Was it practical? I mean, hey, it fucking worked at least. You can talk all that shit like someone falls overboard. You ain't ever finding that motherfucker ever again. Like, yeah, that's some good camo. Versus the Army ACU pattern, where you could see us like walking a mile and a half away. You could spot us from fucking everywhere. I get the intent behind it, but ultimately the reason why that pattern was chosen was because some fucking general at the Pentagon was just like, fuck it, that one. It was cheaper. He didn't care because multicam pattern was actually suggested when the ACU pattern was. But because the Marines went digital first, the Army was like, well, we got to do it too. So they picked the only digital pattern, which was that one. And I know this because we all bitched about that fucking pattern specifically because we all hated it. All of us hated it. And it was basically because of that, because they wanted to go with the woodland. And I will never forget when the uniform changes were happening. I was still active duty. They were discussing it, and they officially had found the pattern because multicam was coming back as a suggested pattern for an official change. And then it was Scorpion, which was essentially multicam. The only difference, there was very small differences between the two patterns. The only reason why we started wearing, we were approved to wear multicams as the duty uniform instead of the ACU pattern. We could wear both, either one if we wanted to. But everybody ditched fucking ACU as soon as they said we didn't have to wear them anymore. And then we got issued multicam. And the biggest reason that because it was at the time, it was up to the commander's discretion to allow someone to wear that or to allow people in that unit to wear that shit. And the only reason why the commander approved it is because when we were in Ukraine, the Ukrainians made fun of the ACU pattern. Because we were over there training them for the whole Russian.
Look at them now. So who's laughing now?
I mean, they weren't wrong. They were like saying that like, how do we blend in better than you? That was essentially the conversation that the officers had with ours. Was like, we blend in better than you. Like, how is this like, like, why are you guys using this camo pattern? It doesn't work.
All of it was related to digital feeds over the battlefield.
I want to see the data on whether or not that's true or if it worked, because I don't think it did. I really don't.
That's why a lot of us are still digital.
I mean, the digital, I think everyone's just using the digital because that's just what they have, and it's too expensive to switch at this point. So, I mean,
it's not like they pay for our uniforms. We fucking pay for that shit. All they gotta do is change it and be like, suck it up, fucking buy a new one.
Let's be honest. As soon as the clothing allowance comes around, there's not a single fucking service member except for maybe one or two across the entire military that's spending that money on a new uniform. Not a single person. What?
I try to.
You try? You actually do try to buy fucking.
I will try to utilize the money that's given to me. If I need new uniforms,
I don't. You get 3 fucking uniforms, and I was fine with those 3. Every 2 days, switch them out, unless they were like in the field. Unless I was in the field, then I stretched it longer. I would bring all of my uniforms and wear one of them for almost the entire time.
I'm saying I buy new uniforms all the time, but I'm saying because whenever I do need new uniforms, especially if it's anything dress related, shit's expensive, and that uniform allowance doesn't cover a fucking thing.
You wear a dress uniform more than I did. Like, yeah. I wore the ASUs, which is the Army Service Uniform, which is our dress blues. I wore that two times in my entire 8 years in the Army.
Even for inspections?
What inspections?
Wow.
We didn't have inspections like that because we were in an operational environment. Like, we didn't.
Navy doesn't care. They didn't have fucking figure it out.
Y'all have the time. That's the thing. You guys have way more fucking time than we did. We'll
be on mid-deployment. Everyone's just, nobody can find the time to do laundry and sleep, and they're like, do uniform inspection tomorrow, guys.
Navy deployment is different than Army deployment, though. Because
I would much rather prefer an Army.
Well, yeah, because you don't have to you do not bring your dress uniform to a deployment. You'll never fucking wear it, and it's just extra shit for no reason. It's just gonna get destroyed. You don't need it. You're never doing inspections like that, especially downrange. Like, the last thing on everybody's mind, including the commanders, is let's have an inspection. Fuck no. The only inspection that people are gonna have is like, we're gonna inspect our equipment to make sure it's not broken. That's it. aside from that, I don't give a fuck what those uniforms look like. To a point, yeah, you got to obviously maintain some kind of discipline and order. But for the most part, they don't give a fuck. Because it's not, you're in some shithole. Everybody's uniform's fucking ruined at this point. Who cares?
You know who doesn't have discipline and order? Whoever the fuck lost this damn fighter jet.
You mean the Air Force? Or no, this was the Navy.
Was it the Navy?
Yeah, it was the Navy.
No, this is the Marine Corps, actually.
Oh, it was the Marine Corps. There's a lot of Marine Corps news today. A lot of it. And it goes with the theme. Every week is one branch specific, almost every time. So yeah, our topics today is one, we're gonna start off talking about the missing F-35, which was found. But it was kind of like one of those things where they couldn't find it. Almost took a week for them to find this thing. How do you lose a whole ass aircraft?
Shouldn't there be shit in, like, you would think that we have some type of chip in there, we can like GPS that shit, go fucking find it.
At least something like this, dude. Like almost $100 million fucking aircraft. The one thing you don't want to lose is that, Granted, thankfully it got lost in the States and didn't get.
They put that shit on Twitter. They're asking for civilians to help look for it. If you happen to find it, contact us.
See, here's the thing. How did nobody notice that there was an airplane crash? How did nobody call that in the first day or two?
I think it might have been in like the backwoods somewhere, because it was in like North South Carolina.
It had to have been, because there is no way that no one fucking saw that crash, unless it was like out in the boonies where nobody lives.
Have you ever been to North or South Carolina?
Yeah.
It's a lot of nothing.
It is a lot of nothing. I know it is. Like one of the spots that I go to in Tennessee, the spot that I proposed to Alicia in, the beauty spot, it borders South Carolina, West Virginia, and Tennessee. And it's all fucking mountains. Nothing around. There's one town.
This is just a lot of flat, swampy land.
It's very interesting to we're going to talk about this because it did get found. Another story, this is a bit of an older story, but I don't know, it got put back in the popular military. Delta Force operator who got away with killing fellow soldier, likely killed by man tied to cocaine trafficking, but the feds are holding the details.
My ads are all of our articles.
I know. This case this incident happened in 2020, and there's more details coming out of it now. I don't know why this was talked about again.
I feel like we talked about this on your podcast.
No, we talked about it on this one. It was this one. Yeah, it was this one.
I thought it sounded familiar.
It is, but I think this is like an update. I don't know. We'll dive into it. Marine drill instructor accused of peeping on recruit and unwanted touching of others. At first,
and not peeing on him.
Not peeing. So you'll see why I thought it said peeing. If you look, it's a photo of a Marine in front of Porta Johns, and it said accused of peeping, and I didn't see the pee in peeping. I thought it said peeing on
What is this picture? It's just this female,
I really don't know,
looking like she has to pee with her tongue out by the fucking...
Here's the article. Here's the fucking article. It's and when you look at this and you see because the photo is the first thing you're going to see, and you read the headline, Marine and drill instructor accused of peeping on recruit and unwanted touching of others, you literally automatically, I mean, at least for me in my brain, sees peeing. And this picture is such an odd choice.
But what is this Marine doing?
What is up with her face?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It looks like she's got
her tongue out.
It looks like she's got gray face paint on with like some kind of black paint on her bottom lip, and she's holding her arm. And her uniform has like this fucking darkish black brown thing on her sleeve. I don't know. Is that a thing right there? That's not part of the uniform, right?
Maybe she's bleeding off.
Maybe if the fucking ad didn't grow when I zoomed the page in. Like, look at this photo. It's a strange photo. And she's holding her arm. Maybe it is blood.
Well, they just took a picture. That's the first thing they thought. Like, let's take a picture of this.
I don't know, dude. It is a very odd choice for a photo. I will say that. And I know the audience is going to agree too. In the gaming world, we're going to talk about Unity and how they're changing their mind about charging developers for using their game engine. So, if you don't
think
know,
of Unity from Rick and Morty.
So if you don't know what Unity is a company that owns a video game engine that a lot of devs use to make games. And
so think Fortnite with Unreal Engine.
Right.
Except Unity and whatever the fuck theirs is.
So it's no surprise that like you use an engine, you pay to use it, right? But what Unity was talking about doing was charging developers for every download of a game after a certain, price point. And everybody was like, we're just not going to fucking use Unity. And because the way that they were going to do this was that they were going to charge for old downloads too. That was another thing. There's no checks and balances in place for pirated games. Just that like the game got downloaded, not how it got downloaded, if it was a legitimate purchase or not. The fact it got downloaded, and this would apply to older games. So before this was even in place, games that are old that are running on the Unity engine would get downloaded, and the developers would have to pay Unity for every fucking, it was like 25 cents per download.
But that shit adds up.
It absolutely adds up. We'll probably see some tweets talking about it once we get there. So unless you've been living under a rock or you just don't give a shit. So Microsoft in the Activision acquisition deal got approved by the UK CMA.
They had to suck somebody off for that shit.
Well, it says provisionally approves Microsoft's acquisition. So that means that there are some stipulations behind, there's some things that they have to do in order for them to say yes.
Or they just haven't officially been able to vote yet.
Which is suck off the CMA. But who knows?
I think there was some backdoor deals going on.
Some backdoor deals. Backdoor.
Probably.
So yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. 2 soldiers, some army news, were arrested with explosives, firearms, and steroids.
Steroids. Shocker. Are you in this article?
We didn't do shit like this. Like, I'll tell you this right now. The steroids were only because of the fucking firearms and explosives. Had it not been the thing, had they not had that, it would have been firearms and explosives. Had it not been for the firearms and explosives, they never would have fucking probably looked into the steroid shit. And I'm
just saying, the Navy hasn't fucked up in a while ever since we sold some shit to China.
The fucking the photo, like, look at all the weapons that these dudes have.
Those are like some hunting rifles and shit.
Not all of them.
Most of them. That's what it looks like.
There's some fucking old guns in this too. Like there's some Mosin Noggins. There's some old shit. So I wonder if this dude was collecting, because a lot of these look like collectors. There are a few hunting rifles here. One AR-15, one AK. The rest are all shotguns and bolt action rifles.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I will note this. It wasn't like these dudes had like 240s or 249s and shit. Of all the guns on this, on all the weapons on this table, there are only 2 of them that are not hunting rifles of some kind.
Yeah.
Minus the pistols.
The explosives, though, I'm curious about that.
I am curious about that too. What do they? Because we all know that people take the term explosive and they use it when it shouldn't.
Very lightly, yeah. I want to know what he was arrested for, because I feel like what he was arrested for, they're gonna use this as the headline to like just make it fucking worse. Like, to what he was arrested for was probably the real issue, and this was just to make it sound so much fucking worse. Like he just happened to have these, and they're like, we're gonna tack all this shit on.
We'll find out. Marine arrested after trying to board plane with explosives. So I'm gonna save this one for last, because this wasn't like just some like Marine that was like, I'm gonna fucking bring home some shit. This was a boot. This guy had just graduated boot camp, and he was trying to get on a plane with fucking. Oh, it was a boot camp or infantry school. Yeah, he just graduated infantry weapons training at Camp Lejeune, and was going on orders, and he had explosives on him.
I would have stopped him, because I bet it wasn't the TSA.
Given that the photo is all MPs, probably not.
Oh, that's fair.
And then
TSA is so fucking useless. And then I think it's hilarious that you can pay for TSA pre-check and then you basically just don't go through the fucking security process anymore. That just shows how fucking useless the TSA is.
It is useless. It is fucking useless. I might wear a butt plug when I go to fucking Norway just to throw the
For your own pleasure, or
for my just to throw the TSA through a loop, you know, just to make them like, you know, as they're fucking, you know, I set off the metal detector and then they start wanding me and they're like, wee, 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 right around my ass, and they're just like,
you won't do it. You won't do
it. Maybe if you no balls me, I might actually fucking.
You fucking do it. I swear. I want it on recording. Tell Alicia to record it.
So let's talk about our first. This light makes my teeth look dingy.
What does that even mean?
Maybe I should whiten my teeth. I gotta whiten my teeth.
That's not a thing that makes them weaker. Teeth have a natural discoloration to them.
If you think I give a fuck, you're wrong. All right, so we're gonna talk about the F-35 that disappeared. So F-35 missing after pilot ejects. U.S. military unable to find the aircraft. They found it. Granted, it was like several days later, but they found it.
I bet you it was a training incident too.
Well, we'll find out. It had to have been I fully believe it was a training accident, because
I find it interesting though, because the air show in Oceana here was the same weekend we lost this. And I was like, no fucking way we lost an aircraft here.
Well, no way they were flying. Well, no, that is believable. They were flying an F-35 in an air show. Why would you not want to show that thing off?
Yeah.
On top of that, it's a stealth craft. So fine. So it might not be a shocker that they couldn't find it.
The whole purpose of it was to not be found.
The whole purpose was to not be found. Hey, at least it works. So the U.S. F-35 reportedly fell from U.S. airspace into U.S. soil. I'm glad that they really put the fucking emphasis on it. It all happened in U.S. airspace and U.S. soil. And
well, it's because I think it was a couple years ago, maybe it was this year, the one that crashed in the South China Sea, and there was like a race between us and the Chinese to recover it.
I remember that. I thought that was a drone though.
No, it was F-35.
This is the second F-35 in the last couple of years to just fucking drop out of the sky. Huh?
Yeah.
Good thing our tax-paying dollars paid for that. Anyway, so the U.S. military can't find it. The USMC F-35 in question was flying out of Joint Base Charleston in South Carolina when it was reported lost on Sunday afternoon. We're working with MCAS Beaufort, South Carolina, to locate.
Marine Corps Air Station.
I figured as much. Marine Corps Air Station, Beaufort, South Carolina, to locate an F-35 that was involved in a mishap this afternoon. Okay. The base wrote on Twitter, also known as X, the pilot ejected safely. If you have any information that may help our recovery teams locate the F-35, please call the Base Defense Operations Center. And I saw a TikTok that had the 911 call of the guy saying, I have a pilot here. and he apparently ejected from his aircraft, so I have a pilot here that he's safe, but I don't know who to call. I wonder if, hang on, let me see if I could find this 911 call.
That's funny. Was it real?
Yeah, I think it was 911 call of ejected F-35 pilot. Let me look, see if 911 call released from military pilot who ejected from F-35. Yeah, this is a day ago.
To the fighter jet that crashed over the weekend and went missing for 24 hours. This morning, we're hearing the 911 call from the pilot who ejected, calling for an ambulance and to report the missing jet. Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz is in Washington with that. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Rebecca. It was a 911 call like no other. A remarkable exchange between a bewildered homeowner, the dazed fighter pilot who landed in the homeowner's backyard, and a 911 dispatcher who doesn't quite know what to make of it.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
I guess we got a pilot at our house, and he says he got ejected. So he ejected from the plane. So we can see if we could get some ambulance, please.
I'm sorry, what happened?
We got a pilot in the house. And I guess
Can you imagine that operator? Like, I'm sorry, what? We have a pilot at our house? Like,
Is there a language barrier here? What's happening?
No, because she's probably like,
No, it's like her thinking.
Her thinking was like, did I hear that right? That couldn't have heard that right. He said he has a pilot in his house. Hang on.
He landed
Pilot
in my backyard, and we were trying to see if we could get a
He landed in my backyard.
ambulance to the house, please.
And that Marine Corps pilot who had bailed out of his malfunctioning $100 million Stealth fighter jet near the
Stealth fighter jet.
Charleston airport was standing right next to the homeowner and joined the 911 call.
47. So we had a military jet crash. I'm the pilot. We need to get rescue rolling. I'm not sure where the airplane is. It would have crash landed somewhere. I ejected.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand, sir. Okay, just to confirm, how many people are hurt?
Well, I'm the only one. I'm not sure about my wingman.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm a pilot in a military aircraft, and I ejected. So I just rode a parachute down to the ground. Can you please send an ambulance?
What a weird fucking 911 call that is.
Can you please send an ambulance?
He's like, ma'am, I think he was like trying to put some emphasis on like, I don't think you understand. I am a military pilot and I just ejected from my aircraft and I just showed up in a parachute. Can you send an ambulance?
I have TRICARE, I swear.
It's weird. All right. So let's see. The F-35 was from Marine Fighter Attack Training Squadron, VMFAT 501 with the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing, according to the public affairs specialist Jeremy Huggins. Not Higgins, Huggins. The pilot,
Huggins.
The pilot who was reported to be alive was taken to the hospital, is stationed out of Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort. Beaufort, whatever, dude. The base noted the plane, which cost up to $80 million for a B variant, may have gone into a lake.
What's an A variant then?
I don't know. Based on the jet's last known position in coordination with the FAA, we are focusing our attention north of JB Charleston, around Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion, the tweet read. Of all the branches of the armed services, the U.S. Marine Corps has frequently led the way for Class A mishaps, which usually categorized by $1 million or loss of life.
Well, that's because of the fucking Ospreys that are trash.
Yeah, dude, there's a fucking it literally just happened like a month ago, an Osprey crash.
Yeah,
and
shocker.
And it's funny.
And then the Army decides they're gonna purchase the Osprey's baby as a helicopter.
Yeah, right. I know. Like, that's not gonna fucking have all kinds of problems too. And this is true. The Marine Corps leads the fucking military with frequent loss, Class A mishaps, which is $1 million loss or loss of life. And typically it's like they lose weapons all the time, like their shit's crashing all the time. So I
saw so many memes where it was like, did 3-6 lose this aircraft?
Listen to this part. In 2020, a National Commission on Military Aviation Safety report blamed the majority of accidents across the armed forces as a result of insufficient flying hours to keep aircrew proficient, inadequate personnel training, inconsistent funding for spare parts and supply, and risky maintenance practices. Those last two, I will put fucking money that those last two right there, the inconsistent funding for spare parts and supply and risky maintenance practices, are the two biggest reasons why this is happening. Not so much of the fucking flight hours and insufficient training or inadequate training, because let's be honest, in the Army, at least I know in the Army, Black Hawk pilots and Chinook pilots are constantly flying, always. And even if you remember last episode, so are Apache pilots. But yeah, Chinook and Black Hawk pilots are always flying, and these accidents aren't always due to fucking pilot error. I will say the one incident where the two Black Hawks collided was due to like that one was pilot error. But like Ospreys crashing, everyone knows the Osprey is the biggest piece of shit aviation that we have, you know? Mm-hmm. So just last month, 3 Marines were killed during exercise in Australia when their Osprey crashed. See, like I said. So, yeah, That's it for that. Let me look real quick because I know they found it.
Yeah.
Let me.
They found it actually pretty quickly, honestly.
Missing F-35 found. Regiment in this podcast is also partnered with BR Paradox. BR Paradox is a company that specializes in custom-built PCs. So if you have an idea for a cool custom-built PC, they can definitely give you the hookup on that. But if you're not in the market for custom PCs, BR Paradox has a wide array of pre-built PCs that you could choose from at great prices. And if you're not in the market right now for a new PC, BR Paradox will definitely hook you up with an optimization. Optimizations take around 10-15 minutes to do, and they're very awesome. I highly recommend them. I had my PC optimized by them, and it's never run smoother since. BR Paradox also has a list of renowned customers ranging from LeBron James, Chris Brown, members of FaZe Clan, and even Angela White from your favorite orange and black site, if you know what I mean. So head on over to brparadox.com to get yourself a PC today or an optimization. And remember to use promo code REGIMENT at checkout. That's promo code REGIMENT down here at checkout. All right, so they did find it. And you're right, they did find it rather quickly. In fact, they found it, I think, the same day or the next day. So it says,
it wasn't long.
Officials find debris field from the F-35 fighter jet that crashed in South Carolina after pilot ejected. Here's the video footage of it. And it's an ad. That's great. I love that for me. Skip ad.
Debris.
I
didn't have an ad at all.
So there's the debris field, the debris field. Which is honestly, that's a very. I'm surprised that there's not a fireball here. If I'm being honest,
I had a feeling that it crashed in like the middle of fucking nowhere.
I mean, it looks like it crashed in the middle of fucking nowhere. So far, I mean, like there was no fire either. That's probably why it was so hard to find, because there was no fireball. All right, so that's not what I want to do. All right, so the crash site for the stealth fighter jet went missing during the weekend after its pilot ejected. Was located Monday, so it was cut like 2 days later in rural South Carolina after the military asked the public for help finding the aircraft built to elude detection. The debris field was discovered in Williamsburg County, about 60 miles northeast of Joint Base Charleston. Residents were being asked to avoid the area while the recovery team worked to secure it. We're transferring Incident Command to the USMC this evening as they begin the recovery process, the base posted Monday on the X social media platform. Authorities have been searching for the jet since the pilot, whose name hasn't been released, parachuted to safety in a North Charleston neighborhood about 2 p.m. Sunday. He was taken to a hospital where he was in stable condition, so the next day they found it.
Yeah.
So the mishap.
I remember seeing it the next day.
The mishap is currently under investigation. We're unable to provide additional details to preserve the integrity of the investigative process. So the Marine Corps announced Monday it was pausing aviation operations for 2 days after the fighter jet crash, and the third costly accident in recent weeks. Wait, what is this? General Eric Smith, the acting commandant of the Marine Corps, ordered a stand down when authorities searched 2 South Carolina lakes for the missing FB-35B. Oh, it's the same aircraft. There's just the different nomenclature. It's the third event documented as a Class A mishap over the past 6 weeks. According to third, yeah.
I know the first two. What was the third?
Dude, I don't know. Let me look. So, announcement give no details about. Let's see. Commanders will spend stand down reinforcing safe flying policies, practices, and procedures with their Marines, according to Monday release. Was it really a pilot error? This sounds like an equipment malfunction.
Combat jet crash in San Diego.
Oh, really?
It says it in the second paragraph down.
Oh, so yeah, here's the Osprey, which we knew about. Let's see. Based on, the plane's location trajectory that initially focused on Lake Malta. The pilot of a second F-35 returned to safety. So there was 2 sorties out. Got it. What was the third?
It's if you go back to the article that you sent me I'm assuming there's a picture here. It's just blank for me, but the Class A mishap, the article you just read, or the
one where they found it. The
announcement gave no details on the 2 previous incidents.
Let's see.
Here, I'll just send it to you.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, it doesn't really give details. For 2 days after the fighter jets crashed. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so what was the other mishap then? I don't know.
I just sent it to you.
Did you? Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
Damn, Marines, you crashed in fucking everything right now. I mean, the Osprey was just, that's the Osprey.
Yeah, none of us blame them for that.
I really hate these fucking gigantic top banner ads that take up half the site.
I don't have any of that. I have ad blocker.
Okay, so it says a Marine Corps pilot has died in the crash of a combat jet near military air station in San Diego. What kind of plane was it? F-18? Yep. Marine Corps pilot was confirmed dead Friday after the crash of a combat jet near San Diego base. Let's see.
This was in August, by the way.
Yeah, this is last month. The pilot was the only person aboard the jet. Isn't the F-18 a single? No, it's a dual. The identity. Let's see. The crash site was described as government property east of the air station site, about 10 miles. Damn. Interesting. So yeah, the Marines have had 3 aviation incidents. That's kind of crazy. So
3 different types of aircraft too.
Yeah, that's also strange. Like all 3, like they covered the only 3 besides the Huey, which dude, those things are basically the A-10 of the rotary wing, like aviation. Yeah. Like those things can take a fucking beating and just keep going. So yeah, they lost an Osprey, an F-35, and an F-18.
Well, they crashed anyways. I would say. I didn't say they lost.
They lost. They didn't lose. When I said lost, I meant like they're gone. They were destroyed. Like they don't have them anymore. Not that they lost them somewhere. So, all right, moving on to some Army shit. So we have news on this.
Tattoos, though. Holy shit.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, when you're a fucking CAG operator, like you can, it doesn't matter, dude. You can be whatever you want. Be all you can be. Oops, I accidentally turned up my mic. No wonder why it was so loud. I thought it was just because I got closer. My cable fucking turned it up. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my fucking God. So, Delta Force operator who got away with killing fellow soldier, likely killed by man tied to cocaine trafficking, but feds are holding details. Let's see. So 2 people were found shot dead in North Carolina military base in 2020, and now a man faces a murder charge, officials said.
I remember this.
This is the update. Someone's actually getting charged with it. So Kenneth Maurice Quick Jr. was indicted in August, almost 3 years after prosecutors said he killed 2 people. Their bodies were found at Fort Liberty, Fort Bragg, in December 2020, according because the name change is so new. Most people don't fucking know it's called Fort Liberty now, and I'll never call it that.
I think it's hilarious that they didn't even put it in like parentheses or something.
I know
they'll do it with Twitter and X, but they won't do it with Fort Liberty.
No, yeah, I know. So the bodies were found in Fort Bragg in December 2020, according to U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of North Carolina. Federal prosecutors on August 25th release didn't list attorney information for Quick, who is from Laurinburg. Though prosecutors wouldn't tell McClatchy News the full names of the people Quick is accused of killing, their initials are similar to those 2 people who were killed, who were found dead in December 2020 at Fort Liberty, formerly called Fort Bragg. Oh, y'all put it down there. The U.S. Army identified one of the people as 37-year-old Master Sergeant William J. Levine in the Special Operations Command. The other was 44-year-old Timothy Dumas of Pinehurst, who had served in the U.S. Army. On December 2nd, 2020, Levine and Dumas were found dead in a training area, but officials said they didn't die from training-related causes. 2 months later, the FBI turned to the public for clues about their mysterious deaths, which agents were investigating as homicides, McClatchy News reported. Quick's case, this is the person that was charged. Quick's case dates to December 1st, 2020, when prosecutors said he shot and killed 1 person on Fort Liberty. The same day, he's accused of killing a 2nd person in connection with a cocaine trafficking case. And the first,
looking at this picture, he looks like a psychopath.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a cartel member.
The dude on the left is the one that did the shooting.
What?
Yeah, it says
No, they're saying this dude in the photo lower is the one that did the shooting.
No, I was looking at the two military guys that shot each other.
No, they're saying that they didn't shoot each other. Prosecutors said that he shot and killed one person on Fort Liberty. That same day, he's accused. Oh, wait, no, yeah, you're right. He's accused of killing a second person in connection with the cocaine trafficking case. In the first death, Quick is charged with 1 count of murder on federal land. Prosecutors said he's also accused of obstruction of justice after prosecutors said he helped to burn the deceased person's pickup truck. In the second death, Quick is charged with attempting to dispose of the body. Prosecutors in their indictment said Quick failed to let police know about both people's deaths and secretly disposed of their bodies. Quick also faces 2 counts of discharge of a firearm resulting in death in relation to a crime, violence, drug trafficking crime. Another gun-related charge. A grand jury indicted him August 1st. He's been in custody in an unrelated case, according to officials. So what's going on here?
That's so confusing. The judicial system.
Just the way that this... Okay, so who killed fucking who? Because this article...
The guy on the left killed the guy on the right.
And the guy that's right here killed the guy on the left?
Which one?
You said the guy on the left killed the guy on the right. If you scroll down...
Go above the picture of the black dude.
Yes. That's who I'm talking about.
So the guy in the uniform killed the dude with the child.
Correct. And the guy in the mugshot killed the guy in the uniform.
I think so. That's probably what that is.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
I think so, yeah.
Because I remember that. I thought that article
likely killed by man tied to cocaine trafficking. Okay, yeah. So it looks like the dude with the cocaine trafficking is the one that killed the guy that's in the uniform in that picture. Fuck it. If he's killing other service members, it sounds like he deserved it.
Here's the thing. Here's my guess. Guy in the uniform was involved in they were both tied up in some shit. Guy on the right didn't want to do it anymore, and he was threatening to fucking say something. Dude on the left,
you ain't gonna say shit.
Dude on the left kills him. Dude on the bottom was like, I don't trust you, and I'm crazy, so I'm going to kill you. Because I have a feeling that if that murder gets tied to you, then all this trafficking shit's going to get tied to me, so I'm going to take you out too. And
yeah,
honestly,
no witnesses.
Honestly, Master Sergeant, hang on, did it say Master? Let's see.
Yeah. Sergeant First Class.
No, that's not a Sergeant First Class. That's a Master Sergeant.
It says Sergeant First Class Mark Leshiker. Oh, no, that's who he shot. Never mind.
That's the guy on the right.
Yep. I don't like the way this is written.
I don't either. Okay, so yeah, Sergeant First Class Mark Leshiker on the right was shot dead by Master Sergeant Levine left in March of 2018 in front of his 5-year-old daughter. That's fucked up.
The dude on the left just looks like a fucking douchebag that would shoot you.
Listen to this. Police said the shooting was justifiable despite inconsistencies in Levine's story. Levine said Leshiker came at him with a screwdriver, but none was found at the scene. So police ruled this shooting as justified. And then this dude down here kills him in a possible link with drug trafficking.
He probably had a good lawyer. And like inconsistencies with evidence probably got him off.
Here's the thing. I think fucking old Master Sergeant here fucking murdered this guy. And old Mugshots down here murdered the Master Sergeant because he was going to get tied to like the trafficking.
More than likely.
Because it was like,
no
if you're going to get,
thing.
Yeah, no witnesses type thing where it's like, if you're going to get charged with murder, it's going to all come out. You're going to try to strike a deal and all this shit about me is going to come out. And we can't have that.
The liability.
This is a fucking circle jerk of conspiracy and murder that is it.
Oh.
What?
Hold on. It's a conspiracy?
You do not. Wow. Is that a swim cap?
It's a beanie that I ordered from Amazon.
A tinfoil beanie, huh?
Yep, tinfoil beanie.
I think I might actually need to get one too. If we're gonna dive,
it was like $10.
If we're gonna dive into potential military conspiracies, we're gonna have to get 2 of these fucking things.
Tinfoil hats.
I actually might make a tinfoil hat.
This is the first moment I've actually gotten to use this so far.
It was very appropriate, but I think this is a conspiracy. Dude, especially these Delta guys. These fucking Delta guys, they do get involved with some pretty fucking questionable shit because they answer to the CIA.
This will have to be a clip. This will be a hilarious clip.
This will definitely be a clip. So, All right, enough of that. We're going to talk about this drill instructor that was peeing on peeping on
All
people.
right, this one's not a conspiracy. I'm gonna take this off now.
I like how my ads show like all the products that I've been buying in the last week. Like cool. So I bought a fucking mid layer for the weather, and it was a cool mid layer, and it's literally right here. It's the same one. Anyway, so Marine drill instructor accused of peeping on recruit and unwanted touching of others. So an investigation conducted in March by the recruit. Dude, why are these articles coming out when the incident happened like earlier in the year?
Probably because they can't give out too many details when it's an ongoing investigation.
That's fair. What the fuck was that?
Because sorry, that was a notification. The way that the military tries to work, much to the opposite of civilian sector now, is they won't give out really all that much details until there's a prosecution. You know, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, like my tiny penis. Look at the tiny penis.
I thought you said innocent until proven guilty. Like I thought you said innocent until proven guilty, like my tiny penis. And I'm like, your tiny penis is innocent until proven guilty. Like I
got given this at the Road Warriors Virginia Beach hike.
I love that. Anyway, so an investigation conducted in March by the Recruit Training Regiment at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, found a Marine drill instructor acted inappropriately while in charge of a gender-integrated boot camp and recommended that he be charged. The unnamed drill instructor could face charges for allegedly subjecting female recruits to unwanted touching and looking into porta-john that was occupied by a recruit.
What? I feel like we're going into a stretch here because it's boot camp.
Why? I mean,
you know what I mean? Well, like all types of shit happens in boot camp, and then people in the civilian sector like misconstrue it, and they're like, "Yeah, they shouldn't be doing that." Granted, he could be doing some wrong shit, but
hang on. If it was enough to warrant an investigation that he gets charged, and they're recommending he gets charged, they had to have found something.
Anything is enough to recommend a fucking problem these days.
So all the names of the Marines investigation report were redacted, but the report refers the accused as staff non-commissioned officer, at least an E6 at the regiment's Company Charlie. The investigation determined the drill instructor had created a toxic culture and cited specific incidents reported by recruits. Recruits claim the drill instructor asked them if they had any hot moms or sisters were coming to graduation and even grabbed one of them by the head to make her do what was apparently his laundry.
What?
Grabbed one by her head to make her do was apparently his laundry.
I'm so confused.
I am too. The investigation of the drill instructor began after the incident December 12th, 2022. Multiple recruits said he allegedly grabbed a female recruit by the head and said something along the lines of, "I choose you, meet me in the laundry room."
Oh, now it makes sense.
While the investigation is complete, the judicial proceedings are still pending, and no additional details can be released at this time. Marine spokeswoman Captain Bridget Glenn told Marine Corps Times in August via email. The recruit
I just picture them like at that Pokemon scene in the beginning when they're picking their first Pokemon, and this recruit's face is one of the Pokemon. I choose you. Come with me.
This article gets even more interesting. Listen. So the report states 3 recruits claim they saw a drill instructor peer into vents of the portable toilet while other recruit was using it, but did not specify the gender of the recruit. It also claims he fat-shamed female recruits by calling them fat pigs or hippos while they ate, and also made sexually suggestive comments to another recruit. What was it?
It's boot camp. It's boot camp. They need to get that. The fat pig thing, not an issue to me.
That I agree. Being fat shamed in basic training and boot camp is literally part of it. Like, yes, the military has already got a fucking height and weight problem as it is.
Yeah. And it's boot camp. They're supposed to break you the fuck down.
When like the breakdown process, and if you're a fat person, the breakdown process means you get fat shamed.
And like the people are so sensitive to, does the enemy give a fuck? No, they don't.
This is probably the only part of the article that I disagree with, which is the whole like he was the fat shaming part. The rest of it's like if he was literally trying to play peeping Tom,
yeah,
and like inappropriately
that's
like
fucked up.
But like calling people fat, like guess what? Welcome to the fucking military.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think your drill instructor calling you fat's a problem, wait till you get to your unit and everybody's calling you fat.
Yeah, maybe they just shouldn't be fat.
Just don't be fat. During the interview with the investigating officer, the drill instructor admitted to grabbing a recruit by the head and grabbing her by the head about their single or hot moms.
I mean, I'm sure they got some hot moms, to be real.
When questioned, male recruits said he hadn't touched them inappropriately, called them names, or asked them inappropriate questions. But one male
because he's probably not a little bitch.
But one male recruit did say he did notice him spending a lot of time with the female recruits and knew all of their names.
Right, now it's getting suspicious.
It is, because if he's spending more time with the females than he is the males, then there's some questions there. An investigating officer said that she recommended the command punish him under Article 92, failure to obey an order or regulation, and Article 134, which covers prohibited conduct that is of a nature bring discredit upon the armed forces, such as adultery. These type of behaviors are unacceptable, she wrote in her investigative report. Now,
that's the end of the article? That's how they ended the article?
That's it. But, yeah, so if you're spending more time with the females than you are the males, if you're not equally treating everybody like shit, then guess what? That's a problem.
Yeah, that's kind of a question.
It's very questionable because it's like, okay, you're not spending time with your male recruits. You're spending a lot of time with the female recruits. You know all their names. You don't know your male recruits' names.
They all have the same name, though. It's just maggot.
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, I don't know. Like, there's just a lot of inappropriate shit happening there.
The part where the dude was like, he hasn't called us names. I think that he just like, this is part of boot camp. He just, of course, he was probably like,
well, here's the thing.
He didn't think of it anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, so when you're in basic training or boot camp, and you do notice things that your drill instructors or drill sergeants do that are very odd, that are just like,
yeah,
because when there's one thing that they all do the same, but when one of them isn't doing that, it stands out like a lot. I had a female drill sergeant who all of us were convinced that she had an obsession with feet, because she would all make us take our shoes and socks off and show her our feet. And she was the only one that did this. And she
that's not necessarily a bad thing in boot camp,
but
though.
she only did it to the males.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of strange.
That was the thing. She only did it for the males. She never did that with the females.
Interesting.
So all of us were like, does she have a foot fetish? And we all thought it was a joke. Like, we didn't think anything of it because we were like, okay. But she like always wanted to see our feet.
I thought it was just like checking your foot for
checking. Yeah, so I can
just
understand
checking feet in general.
If you're checking everyone's feet to make sure that everyone's feet aren't fucked up because of like you're wearing your boots all the time. It's understandable. But she did say that like she's making sure that our feet aren't fucking tore up.
But yeah, of course she's gonna say that regardless.
But we were like, oh, she's only doing that with the males, because our basic training was female integrated, so we did have females in our basic training, right?
My boot camp is integrated, but my division wasn't. I was all males.
Ours was mixed. We had everybody. Obviously the females were separated from the males until it came time for like missions and shit. Then we were embedded.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like we noticed that and we thought it was very, very odd. But that, I don't know. But what he's doing, this reminds me of that, except to the nth degree.
Do you guys have platoons or whatever that are not integrated?
No. At least
so they're all integrated regardless.
Yeah, unless, you know, so basically what they did was they were integrated and ordered by last name alphabetically.
Interesting.
So
the way the Navy works is
each platoon was like A through whatever, and then, you know, like they were like each platoon was divided like that. Everybody was integrated, and they separated platoons by like a letter space. So like A through E. And then F through fucking, I don't know, N. So there's four.
Because the way the Navy is we'll have some divisions will be integrated, and they'll obviously live in separate berthings until they're together. But some divisions will be all male.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to think. I also the Army doesn't have. It's much like how boot camp is. I actually know. How many bases does boot camp have? One?
We just have one. Yeah, Navy only has one.
Okay, so the Navy only has one. What about the Marine Corps?
2.
The Army has like 5.
Oh wow.
So we have Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Fort Benning, Georgia. We have Fort Jackson. We got fucking what else? There's like 4. There's like 4 different ones, right?
Yeah. That's because they also send the National Guard to those too, right?
No, it's MOS based.
Oh.
So like if you're an 88 Mike, chances are you're going to Fort Jackson. If you're
That's interesting. They separate boot camp, like the basis of your training, regardless of based off of what your MOS is going to be.
Pretty much.
That's interesting.
Infantry all goes to Benning.
I figured that like base boot camp initial training would have been the same for everybody.
Well, so the reason why they do this is because they don't want to have to keep flying people all over the place, because the schools are never in the same base. So there are certain schools. It depends on the school. Some schools are in, if your school is in Georgia, you're going to Benning. If you're an like let's say if you're Intel, like Campbell was a fucking IT guy. His basic training was in Benning, and his AIT is in fucking Fort Gordon or some shit. So
he's a sergeant now.
I know. He told me. Yeah, I talked to him now. Yeah, he told me about being an E5, and I'm like, welcome to the bullshit, kid. But so field artillery will go to Fort Sill for basic training because our field artillery training schools are in Fort Sill. 88 Mikes, truck drivers, will go to Fort Jackson because the driving school. I drive trucks. I'm a truck driver. But like, yeah, so typically like whatever your MOS is will determine what base you go for basic training, because it'll be closer to wherever your AIT is, where your school's training is. So
that's interesting.
Because like literally like in Fort Sill, we call it crossing the tracks because the base is split in 2, similar to how Great Lakes is. So you have the training area, you have the boot camp area, and you have the schools area, right? Mm-hmm. Fort Sill's like that, except much, much, much bigger. So you have it, and it's literally separated by railroad tracks. That's why they call it crossing the tracks. On one side of the tracks is reception and basic training, and on the other side of the tracks is AIT and the impact area.
I don't even know what those train tracks are for because they're not used anymore.
What, in Fort Sill or in
Great Lakes?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's not even a railroad crossing there because it's a dead railroad track. It's not used at all.
I think it used to be the Amtrak that went from Chicago to Milwaukee.
Oh, that'd be cool. That was interesting.
And then they moved the tracks to the more central part of that town.
Because it's right outside of base still. Like, it's not far.
Well, you got to think, like, how much work would it and how much money would it cost to fucking get rid of them? You know?
I wonder if it's just a section of track that just, like, they just don't use anymore.
It's like the Amstutz Highway. It's a section of highway that just doesn't get used, except to be... Because you know the story about that highway?
I feel like I do. I think we've talked about this.
So you know that one, they call it the highway to nowhere? So basically,
we've definitely talked about this.
So whenever you're heading to like up north, you turn right out of the base and you follow that, and then you turn right to that highway, and it's literally just a fucking highway that literally is like 2 or 3 miles long, and it has an exit, and it all goes into an exit ramp.
We have talked about this. It was back when I used to go to your house for the podcast recording.
Yeah, so the highway to fucking nowhere, and it was basically they're trying to make a highway that went from Chicago to Milwaukee that was closer to the lake.
Yeah, and they like ran out of funding and all that shit.
Yeah, they ran out of funding, and there was like some there was some ecological issues that they couldn't do it. Like the dunes were in the way. A lot of protected state land was in the way, and they couldn't make it work. Anyway, we just went off on a squirrel with that.
That's rare. We don't do that very often anymore.
No, we don't. We kind of get one track minded here.
You know what I noticed, and I've said it many of times, ever since we started video recording our episodes, we squirrel far less than we used to.
That's because it's video format and it goes to YouTube, and 4-hour episodes don't do well.
Well, no, I think we just naturally do it.
Yeah.
I noticed that the way we go about it on video is different than if we're just recording.
Well, I don't know. I guess there's a sense of awareness when you're recording on a video than audio. On audio, you could sit there and talk and talk.
Yeah, just talking.
And on video, it's like you're more conscious of the time.
I think so.
So anyway, Unity. So Unity says sorry, rolls back some download fees.
Sorry.
Some download fees. Unity has apologized to its users and revealed an updated runtime fee policy, which seems to have placated most devs. So it's been a pretty rough week for Unity and all of its developers who build their games on that engine. After introducing a new runtime fee based on the amount of times a game is installed, developers lashed out, and potential changes in their capability of driving smaller indie studios into the ground, specifically ones that offer up their games on a subscription service like Game Pass. Many devs threatened to delay projects or switch to different engines. And it was an all-round disaster for Unity's image. Now, let's be fair. The CEO of Unity is the same executive from EA that wanted to charge people money for reloading in Battlefield 2042.
Reloading?
Yeah, so whenever you ran out of ammo and had to reload, he suggested that you pay real money to fucking replenish your ammo or reload.
What?
He's the same guy that said that developers that don't think about microtransactions when developing a game are fucking idiots.
No, I disagree.
He's the same guy that said that.
He's one of the reasons that gaming is so shit right now.
I know. And
because I bet he's never touched a fucking video game in his life.
Nope, he's looking at it as a fucking cash cow. So fast forward to a few days, and Unity has now decided to radically alter these upcoming changes, claiming it's sorry for not listening to its users and taking feedback into account.
You're not sorry. You're just sorry you couldn't fucking get away with it.
This is what they fucking did. Because this is the
Activision is the same shit.
This is the classic feel out the response and then make a change based off that feedback. You have an idea. This is them testing to see how much they can get away with. Like all these fucking greedy ass publishers and companies do the same thing. They talk about something. Twitch does it too. They talk about a change that they want to do, which is very lucrative for them if people willingly do it, and to see what kind of response they get. And then they roll back on it because they're like, oh, we're sorry, and stuff like that. That was, I think that was like that's their intention. Because the best case scenario, everybody just rolls over and takes it. Worst case scenario, they just go back to usual. Very classic fucking let's feel the response and then backtrack. Everybody fucking does it. It's insane. Let's see. So this was explained in an open letter on the official website by Unity Create lead Mark Whitten, who details some of the changes being made to the new runtime fee policy. The majority of them seemingly beneficial for smaller creators.
Like I saw that a lot of independent devs were just like, all right, we're just not going to fucking use you.
Right. So for starters, it's explained. Well, there was one company that was developing a game that said that, we haven't started developing yet, so we're probably going to switch to a different engine.
Yeah. I bet Fortnite was just licking its chops.
If anything, like the indie devs that
Epic, I should say.
The indie devs that were working on projects that said they were going to switch engines, the only thing that was going to, they said that the biggest hang up on this was that everything that we're doing is going to get delayed because we have to learn how to use the new engine. So that's why things would get delayed by that. So for starters,
I mean, shit, wouldn't most people? I think a good majority of people are using Unreal right now, anyways.
Yeah. So for starters, it's explained that there will be no runtime fee for those building their games with Unity that are on the Unity Personal program. This plan will also remain free to those that wish to use it. The revenue cap for games built on the plan has been increased from $100,000 to $200,000. That's the overall revenue of a game. So this essentially means that smaller studios and hobbyists will not be affected by this new runtime fee policy in the slightest, and no game with less than $1 million in trailing 12-month revenue will be affected either. Trailing, whatever. There are also a couple of positive changes for those on the Unity Pro and Unity Enterprise plans too. as it's explained that any game currently being built on Unity will not be subject to the new runtime fee policy. Only games that are either upgraded to or built on the new version of Unity shipping in 2024 will need to pay these new fees. Unity is also giving developers whose games are affected by these new fees a choice between a simple 2.5% revenue share or fees based on the number of new people engaging with their games. Now
they're choking them out for more money.
Right. Now, the other thing to note here is that when someone asked in a tweet, like, what about games on Game Pass? Are the developers like going to have to cover that? They said, no, the publisher is. Microsoft will. And everyone's like, I can guarantee you Microsoft is not going to be willing to do that.
Yeah, it would end up, no matter what, it's going to come back to the customer somehow.
Yeah.
Because the company's not going to pay that shit. It's going to come down to us.
It's not going to come down to the developers. The thing is, like, Microsoft will probably fucking sue Unity.
Well, that's it. But I mean, at the very least, no matter what, it's going to come down. Let's say it costs Microsoft more money for that. That cost would come back to us. We would end up paying more money.
Oh, you're talking about we would. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. To make up for them having to, be charged for that. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know what I've noticed too? I've noticed so many fucking streaming platforms are increasing. This is unrelated, but they're increasing like their subscription fees
and changing nothing.
Yeah, they're doing one. They're adding ads. So like before, when we would pay, we would generally love streaming services because there was no fucking ads, right?
Yeah.
Some play things like Hulu. They had like the $2 more for no ads, which that's okay, whatever. Basically, the no ad version was the same price as all the other ones. They just had a cheaper version if you wanted to save a couple bucks. Cool. Now, it doesn't matter. They're starting to put fucking ads in regardless, and there's only one subscription fee.
Right. Yeah.
And they're just increasing the price. Like you need more of my fucking money, right?
And here's the problem, right? So you have Netflix, for example, and all the weird fucking things that they like to do. They want to increase how much it costs for you to be subscribed to them. They also want to get rid of password sharing and make it impossible for you to fucking password share, while at the same time give nothing of quality in return. It's like, what are you doing? Are you going to be giving us more stuff? No. You're charging me though. You're taking more money from me and still doing almost nothing. The problem that Netflix has, and other subscription services have the same problem, is that they have a new show and they cancel it after one season.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're charging me more money and having all these things that come out. And the fucked up part is the shit they cancel is good. Right?
Yeah.
So it blows my mind. Like, I can't tell you how many shows I started that I was like, this is a fucking good show, and it gets canceled. And it's still
because they're producing so much shit, and they don't really advertise it. It just happens to be there. And if it doesn't, the way their engine suggests things to you, you may not ever fucking see it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've seen some stuff on there that I just happened to find when it was like other things similar to this, and I would be like, oh, that looks cool. Otherwise, I would have never fucking seen it. And the amount of Netflix original shows that they produce is a lot.
I know. And on top,
for no reason.
And here's the thing. If you're not sure if a show is going to get past, with the record that Netflix has of canceling a good show after season one, why not just make it the first season as a limited, like plan it as the first season to be like a limited series, and any season after that expands. That way you can see how well it does and then determine after that if you want to do another season. Because more often than not, I've seen a limited series come out that was so good that I was like, I wish there was another season of this.
Yeah. Like, and that's always the ones that they pump advertising, or they pump advertising to like everybody in. Mm-hmm. And it usually does really good. Like the Wednesday one.
And Wednesday is a good example. Wednesday had a lot of marketing behind it, and it got popular on TikTok and shit. And that's the other thing. That's what Netflix looks at when they determine whether or not to renew it for another season. Is they look at how popular something is, and then determine if it gets another season. And if it is popular within that first week or two, season 2 is renewed. It's renewed for another season.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane to me.
It is.
I'm just upset that they're starting to me, the best subscription service ever will be YouTube Premium. Because granted, it's a little bit different because YouTube is otherwise free, but they have it to where the only modification would be the like Hulu used to have it, where they had like the ad free was a couple bucks more, and then the ad one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll use that one though. Like YouTube, if you have YouTube Premium, you have no ads. But if you have ads, most of the time, I think it's after a certain number that you can't skip them. But you're able to skip the ads, right? And it still counts as a view for that ad.
Yeah.
For whatever channel. And like, so Hulu, I don't know previously if it's still the same, but like they had the ad one where you'd have like 30 seconds of ads, and then you had the no ad version. Now it's starting to get to be where you're paying more than you would have regardless, and you're still getting fucking ads.
Streaming services are turning into cable.
Yeah, it's insane.
I
got Paramount Plus and Peacock the other day. One subscription price, fucking ads that you can't skip.
It sucks because you have these subscription prices and you have maybe 1 or 2 shows that are good and a bunch of fucking movies you'll never watch.
Yeah.
And with maybe like 2 movies in there that you would watch.
If I had to narrow it down and I could only like afford 3, it would be Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus.
Even Disney Plus is like, aside from the fucking Star Wars shows, which are very hit or miss, lately have been pretty hit.
Well, Disney Plus has a lot of shit.
Disney Plus has a lot of shit.
They have almost their entire Disney.
Yeah, they got their whole. Well, no, they don't,
library.
Because Disney Plus has been removing things. They
remove a few here and there because they'll contract it out.
And the thing is, the things they're removing we're only available on Disney Plus. So the Willow show, for example, that came out on Disney Plus, and they canceled it after the first season, and they removed it from Disney Plus, and you could only have ever gotten it from Disney Plus because they didn't put it out on anything else. It was only available on Disney Plus. So you have a lot of shit that, like, HBO is guilty of the same thing. HBO will remove shit that you could only get on Max.
But was it created by them?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. The same thing. Willow was created by Disney, and they removed that. That and a bunch of other shit. Essentially, it was like, even if you weren't going to watch it, the fact is that if you did eventually want to watch it, you couldn't.
I would still do Disney just because the library that they have available on there is honestly impressive.
I'm all for pirating. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm not saying I have an app.
Pirating shows and movies is the way to fucking go. Anyway, let's move on. We squirreled too much. So we're gonna talk about this acquisition deal being done. So the
Microsoft acquisition.
Yes, the Microsoft acquisition of Activision. So UK CMA provisionally approves Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition. That's a tongue twister, bro.
Not for you. Everything's a tongue twister for you.
Fuck you. So the UK's Competition and Markets Authority has provisionally approved Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision Blizzard King, potentially putting the deal one step closer to action.
They suck somebody off, I'm telling you. Or somebody died.
So Microsoft's plan to purchase Activision Blizzard King for staggering $68.7 billion has been going on.
Blizzard
King, the people that made Candy Crush.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Largely
That's the first time I've ever seen it written like that.
Same. So the deal has been going on for quite some time, largely due to how many marketing bodies have had to approve such a big purchase. One of the biggest roadblocks, aside from Sony, that the company has had to contend with since announcing the deal is the UK CMA, a marketing regulator that initially blocked the deal from happening back in April, largely due to its concerns for the impact the purchase would have on cloud gaming. After the deal was blocked, how long is this article for? Okay, it's not that long. After the deal was blocked, it was clear that Microsoft would have made some concessions in order to win the CMA and went over the CMA and get the deal moving again. Today, the CMA confirmed in a statement released by the government UK that the new deal put forward by Microsoft is enough for it to have provisionally accepted the deal, although it is yet to make a final decision. The statement from the CMA reads, while the CMA has identified limited residual concerns with the new deal, Microsoft has put forward remedies which the CMA has provisionally concluded should address these issues. The CMA is now consulting on the remedies before making a final decision. According to the CMA, after the deal was blocked in April, Microsoft shared a restructured transaction in August for the CMA to review. In that new deal, Microsoft said it would not be purchasing the cloud gaming rights held by Activision, which the CMA was worried would impact competition in the industry, and they would instead be sold to Ubisoft, an independent third party, before the deal is completed. So the cloud gaming that Activision owned, if Microsoft bought Activision, Microsoft would own that cloud gaming. So instead, it's being sold to Ubisoft. That way,
isn't that a problem?
No, because they're technically an independent third party and not part of this deal.
No, but I mean, like, does that mean that they can't cloud game anymore?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's more.
I don't even understand why it was blocked in the first place.
Because they didn't want Microsoft to have the monopoly on cloud gaming.
But you can't have a monopoly on cloud gaming. That doesn't make sense.
It could be the way the technology runs. I don't know. So what else? According to deals, I read that. Okay, so regarding the new deal, the CMA said the prior sale of the cloud gaming rights would establish Ubisoft as a key supplier of content to cloud gaming services, replicating the role that Activision would have played in the market as an independent player. In contrast, I don't know why. I think it's more of like an independent thing. I don't get it. In contrast to the original deal, Microsoft would no longer control cloud gaming rights for Activision's content, so would not be in position to limit access to Activision's key content as its own cloud gaming service or to withhold those games from rivals. So pretty much it was, they would basically, because Microsoft does have its own cloud gaming, which is Game Pass. And then they would have the one with Activision's catalog, which would make it to where Activision's game would be only available on the Game Pass. Or I don't fucking know, dude. This is too much.
That's so weird.
So the CMA concludes by stating that although its restricted deal is materially different to the previous transaction and substantially addresses most concerns, the CMA concerns about the purchasing affecting competition in cloud gaming are now more limited and enough for it to provisionally conclude that the additional steps should resolve those residual concerns. A consultation on a new deal is now open until October 6th, so we should be finding out more about the final decision soon.
So, but I mean, regardless, it wasn't a monopoly either way because there's still other gaming companies.
I think it's more of like the publisher. So, like when it comes to Sony. So, if Microsoft has Activision's cloud gaming is available for Sony. If Microsoft owned that cloud tech, Sony would not be able to use it. It wouldn't be shared. That particular cloud gaming needed to be with an independent company so that everybody could have access to it, not just Microsoft.
Interesting.
That's what I'm guessing this means.
But it's got to be, right?
It's got to be, because I don't fucking know. So enough about gaming news. We're going to talk about soldiers getting arrested for fucking Tren below, baby! Steroids! I miss it. I miss putting a needle in my ass cheek and fucking feeling the fucking power within.
Tiny, just shrinking your testicles.
It did not shrink my testicles because I didn't abuse them, bitch. I will say that right now. I get it. A lot of people say that. Like, first off, people say that roids shrinks your dick. Not true.
That's not true.
It's not true. It shrinks your testes, but only if you overuse and abuse it.
I wouldn't.
Essentially,
mind. I mean,
means,
I'm snipped already, but
essentially, what it means is that if you are never coming off of a cycle, which you never should fucking do, yeah, it'll affect that, and it depends on which ones you're taking. If you're taking,
because it shrinks your testicles because your body's like, oh, we're getting testosterone from another source.
Don't need you anymore. Wow. Essentially, yes, that's exactly what it is. But like when I was doing it, I wasn't taking that much. I was actually taking relatively small amounts Because like my medic was like saying, how many cc's? 10 per week. And he's like, dude, that's nothing. And I'm like, it's enough. That's all I need. So yeah, like you'll like that issue only happens to dudes that are fucking heavily abusing steroids. You know, there's a guy in my town that when I first came home from Italy, there was a supplement store that was right by my house that sold some pretty questionable shit. And by questionable shit, I mean like pre-workout that wasn't FDA approved because it had like a powdered form of testosterone.
No pre-workout is FDA approved.
Technically, no, but like it had ingredients that were banned by the FDA.
Oh, okay.
I should have specified that, but it had ingredients that were banned by the FDA, and because it was basically a powdered form of testosterone. So
nice.
it had what did it have in it? It had
testosterone.
It wasn't testosterone. It was something else.
You said it was a powder form
it was
of
MDAA or some shit like that, which was like basically steroids. So
it was
human
growth hormone.
Anyway, there was a guy that I knew before I joined the Army who became a bodybuilder, right? And the guy that owned the supplement store said, he's like, dude, that guy fucking does not, he abuses Tren. And Tren is the most dangerous and most powerful steroid on the market, has been for fucking years. And he never off-cycled it. And he's like, dude, this guy's fucking testosterone production in his body is fucked for the rest of his life. His hormones are going to be all fucked up. He's going to die.
He's going to turn into a little bitch when he's done. And
I'm actually curious if he's like what he's doing now. Like I don't ever hear about him anymore. I never see him on. He used to be on fucking the local bodybuilding and fitness competitions that we have here.
Wow, she's dead.
And he's never on those flyers anymore. So he either just fucking gave it up. And he was dating a chick who was a cop. And she was a bikini model. Like she was like a fucking
the sting operation.
She was, you know, those bikini competitions where those chicks are all fit and they're all lean and shit. She was a local cop and she did those competitions and they were dating. And apparently that dude was fucking abusive to her.
It's like, called roid rage.
Yeah. Like, you know, roid rage only happens when you do shit like that. Anyway,
yeah, that's what happened to Chris Benoit's family.
He died how he lived.
We're getting dark over here.
He died how he lived, and that was in the gym.
What?
He hung himself in his gym.
Chris Benoit? No, he murdered his family.
And killed himself with his gym equipment. He hung himself with his workout cables.
Oh, so that was more detail than I knew.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
I
just knew that he ended up. It was murder-suicide.
Did he hang himself, or did he crush his head between the weights? So
what?
Hang on. How did Chris Benoit die? He hung himself. He used a weight machine cord to hang himself by creating a noose from the end of the cord and pull down on a lat pull-down machine from which the bar had been removed.
Interesting. From the regret of murdering his family, probably.
I mean, yeah, you murdered your fucking 4-year-old son and wife. I don't think you fucking... I'm pretty sure there's some regret there. Anyway.
Well, for a normal person, yeah.
Yeah, for a normal person. He wasn't normal. Regiment in this podcast is also proudly partnered with Stack Up. Stack Up is another military gaming organization. The one thing different, though, is that they focus mostly on the mental health of veterans as well as the betterment of veterans alike. One of the programs that Stack Up has is their STOP, or Overwatch program, which is a 24/7 crisis support line for veterans. The thing that sets Stack Up's Overwatch program above all other crisis support lines, including the VAs, is the fact that this 24/7 crisis line is operated by trained veterans. So when a veteran calls in crisis, they're not just talking to a random person. They themselves are talking to a vet that has also gone through something similar and can relate to the situation. Their trained staff in this Overwatch program will help a veteran find the resources that they need to find help. And if the person just wants somebody to talk to, the Overwatch program is great for that too. Another cool thing that the Overwatch program does is that you don't have to sit there and talk on the phone with somebody. If you feel comfortable just doing DMs, they can definitely do that too. Another really cool thing that Stack Up has is their air assaults. Air assaults are where they'll take a veteran and fly them to conventions all over the country. This includes TwitchCon, Comic-Con, anywhere in the U.S., all expenses paid. And if a convention happens to be somewhere out west in California, StackUp has what's called a Phalanx House, which is essentially a gaming lounge for all veterans to just go to. StackUp will definitely hook you up with that. They have pool tables, hot tubs, and just a place to stay if you're out west. It's pretty cool. Another thing that StackUp has is their supply crates. Now, what they'll do is they'll take gaming equipment, gaming consoles, and other cool swag and send it to either a veteran in need or a unit somewhere deployed or a unit that needs it. This is a great way to keep veterans connected and boost the morale of the veterans that need it. Every year, StackUp has a charity called the Call to Arms. The Call to Arms charity is to help StackUp raise the funds that they need for all the awesome programs that they have. Last year alone, they raised $625,000, and all of that money goes to keeping these programs going to help other veterans that need it. If you're looking to donate, we have the donation link down in the bio. But if not, go ahead and spread the word of this awesome charity and head on over to stackup.org and check them all out. That's stackup.org and tell them Regiment sent you. Anyway, so 2 soldiers arrested.
Relatively normal. He was just on drugs.
So 2 soldiers arrested with explosives, firearms, and fucking steroids. So 2 active duty soldiers were arrested for possession of multiple weapons and explosives in Muskogee County.
It's not uncommon.
Oh, it's Muskogee County. According to the sheriff's office, Muskogee County Sheriff Greg Countryman confirmed that the soldiers were stationed at Fort Moore and were arrested in Columbus. Huh? County.
His last name is Country? No, his last name is Countryman.
Countryman. Oh, yeah. Sheriff Greg Countryman. So Staff Sergeant Christopher Reese and Staff Sergeant Lou Lore were arrested after investigation conducted by the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office Special Operations Unit and Fort Moore Southern Field Office Proactive Investigation Unit, according to the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office says that Reese had been charged with 33 counts of possession of explosive devices. Lore is being charged with 2 counts of possession of explosive device and 1 count of possession of anabolic steroids with the intent to distribute, according to the Sheriff's Office.
You ain't distributing 1 thing of steroid.
Oh, no, you buy them in bulk and you sell them to your buddies. Ask me how.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He only has a little bit amount. That's him. He's using that shit.
Hang on a second. Okay, so I love how the street value. Okay, so the items seized include 33 explosive devices, 20 rifles, 7 handguns, anabolic steroids with a street value of $3,100, which in today's economy is really not that much.
Yeah, as I said, that doesn't sound like a lot.
Inert mortar shell, which is a training round. The case is still under investigation, according to the Sheriff's Office.
So I want to know what an explosive device is in these definitions.
Oh my God. There's the photo of it. This is the photo of it. These look like these look like M80 firecrackers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That you see what I mean? That's why I wanted to know what they're considering an explosive device. We're not talking about like these guys got fucking TNT, dynamite, IEDs.
Of course, the fucking photo links me to a Facebook.
What is Facebook in the top right
Okay,
corner?
so let's look at this. No, I can't zoom in.
They literally look like fucking like M80 firecrackers.
I like how he's got the box of needles right there. And this bag must be these bags must be the fucking juice. Actually, these vials right here are the juice. This whole thing of vials, that's the juice. Look at that revolver on the left.
He's got the juice.
That revolver on the left is some fucking Tombstone era bullshit. Anyway, so I
can't tell. Where are you seeing this?
I clicked on the photo halfway down the article that took me to the Facebook.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right, so I'm looking at these explosive devices, and these look like fucking mortar simulators. These are very small. Actually, no, they're not that small. They just look small. See that mortar shell right there? That's a 60. Yeah. That's a 60 millimeter. That's about that big.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the size of a Nerf football. So those are actually a lot bigger than they look from this distance. So, and by looking at these, I already know what these are. These are not regular explosives. So whenever you're training, this little piece right here, there's a little brown piece that thing right there is a pull cord. What this does is you pull it and you fucking throw it and it whistles and explodes. So it's basically a big ass firecracker.
Yeah.
It is supposed to simulate an incoming mortar. It has a loud whistle and then and boom. That's all.
It looks like all of these are training shit.
All of these explosives are training. That's exactly what these are. These aren't like he had fucking C4 in his house. That's all that is.
It's not like he's getting fucked.
There's yeah, that's exactly what these are. So I found a bigger photo that shows these more clearly. These are mortar simulators. These are not like normal, like these isn't like fucking bombs and shit. And
I think these guys are getting fucked.
And this is 60 mil. Oh, they're absolutely getting fucked. This is a training round. And given by the way that the tip of that fucking mortar shell looks, this was already sent. They found this in an impact area.
They're getting screwed, I think.
I have a 30 millimeter I got from an Apache.
If you depending on what they got pulled over or like arrested for initially, because there's no way they got arrested because of this.
No, I'm gonna actually keep reading. So it says
well, there's nothing. There's
nothing. So it doesn't say why they were getting what they were getting investigated for in the first place.
That's what I want to know.
That sucks.
Is why what was the cause, the probable cause? That was like a traffic stop. That's what I mean. Like there's no they didn't get arrested for this. They got arrested and this was found.
Here's my guess, right? So they got picked up on selling steroids because somebody told on them.
It could have been.
That's gonna be my guess. So but
that's not even a lie. They didn't even have a lie.
Given the fact that anabolic steroids are technically illegal, selling them in the first place, and then you're selling them like privately, that's
I bet he got caught buying them.
They probably did like catch him buying a massive supply of juice, because like I'm assuming, this is me completely speculating, that they got picked up on selling steroids and they found everything else.
Because those weapons, those are that's just I truly feel like that's just a collector, someone that has a lot of weapons.
But yeah, because if you look at those weapons, a lot of these, I mean, did he live off? Given he was an E6, well, they both were. They had to be living off base. But
yeah, that's not on base. There's no way.
But most of these firearms are, I mean, there's a lever action Henry repeater. There's a fucking most of these are they're all bolt action or lever action, and with this, then there's like 2 carbines.
And most military people are going to have 1 or 2 carbines at a minimum.
All of these,
if they're a weapons person.
Almost all of these guns are either hunting or collectors. Not all of these are like fucking like we're starting a militia, you know.
And the explosive devices, that's just someone that has a lot of training.
They acquired some fucking training rounds. That's all that really is. They acquired some training rounds, and let's be honest, you're not supposed to have those.
Yeah, no, I know.
And
I just knew, but I knew the way that explosive devices was fucking worded. I'm like, it's gonna be something stupid.
It is, and we were correct. It was something stupid. So
I guarantee that this is all stemmed from the steroids.
Yeah,
and then they're getting fucked because of everything else.
All right, so speaking of explosive devices, a Marine arrested after trying to board plane with explosives. How much do you want to bet?
These were probably real explosives.
Well, we'll see. So,
that's true.
A Marine in North Carolina was allegedly arrested by naval authorities after attempting to board a plane with explosives. The unnamed Marine had apparently just graduated from infantry weapons training at Camp Lejeune and had orders to 29 Palms in California. Way to end your career before it starts.
All right.
Infantry weapons training is an additional 4 weeks of training on machine guns, mortars, and anti-armor weapons for infantry Marines who have completed their infantry training. Video of the Marine's alleged arrest was posted on Not in Reg's Instagram account and claims that he got caught with smoke grenades and projectiles while trying to board a plane in 29 Palms. The post claims authorities didn't arrest him until he was brought back to the School of Infantry at Camp Lejeune after being caught with prohibited items.
There's a video.
There is a video. We're gonna hang on. This is loud. Let me turn.
All you just hear is the Bad Boys theme song.
What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna...
I like how he's in his fucking graduation shirt. The fucking weird
his fucking boot shirt. I remember I bought one of those hoodies from boot camp, and I'm pretty sure it got fucking quote unquote lost.
I had those because I had no other clothes.
No, I knew from the day that I left boot camp that I was like, I don't want anything. Like, I never bought a single Navy piece of clothing when I was in school and wore it like out in town.
Yeah.
Even though on the flip side of that, I was also the boot that would wear my dress
I'm
uniform.
curious of what the projectiles were. Smoke grenade and projectiles.
Yeah, it doesn't even say.
What?
Probably because there's not much. Honestly, I bet that's probably what it was. Because they do use civilian aircraft to go to 29 Palms for like ITX or CAC training, where they do like their pre-deployment stuff in the desert. We take civilian aircraft out there.
I'm going to show you this because since we're on the topic of explosives, I got some fun shit to show you on how not to fucking shoot a mortar. It's a nice fun TikTok.
Is it the?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Is it the one where he almost loses his hands?
What do you mean almost?
I saw that today, actually.
You saw this one today?
Yeah.
There was another one. Oh God.
There's a longer version of that where you see him load the first one in and he goes back, he gets another one and he goes to put it in and the other one shoots it out of his hands.
Okay, so that's the one that I was talking about that I couldn't find. So that one right there, did you like that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and
send it to me. Because, okay, I could tell you exactly what fucking happened. I'm sorry, by the way, for the ear rape, guys. That was loud as fuck, and I didn't mean it to be. So that one right there that you were talking about, that's the one I was trying to find. So this one in this video, this is an 81 millimeter mortar, right? So this 81 millimeter, this is a hang, drop, and it fires. The 60, what happened was, that was a mishap completely on the guy holding the tube. Because the way that 60s work is that they have two settings. They have a hang and drop and they have a trigger. You can drop a mortar shell in there and fire it with the trigger. And there's a bubble on there and that you adjust the distance, the trajectory with your hand, right? So like the tube's in your hand, which you saw him have the tube in one of his hands. So basically what happened, did you just send it?
Yeah, that's on Discord.
This is the one that he was talking about. Okay, so you heard how the guy, the range guy, the guy on the gun line said it's on you, gunners.
Mm-hmm.
So
the guy holding the mortar was supposed to tell him that it was a misfire or something.
No, it wasn't a misfire. He didn't shoot it. So
yeah, that's what I mean. If it was a misfire, that it fired, that it didn't fire, he didn't communicate that.
Right. So this is completely on the gunner. So if you look at the gunner, right?
Get those fucking rounds, Tony. Let's go, Mono. Don't fucking get that. No, you fucking
Oh, this is much longer.
A lot to unpack.
Yeah, this is the same exact one that I saw. So here's what happened. So if you watch, right? Hang on, let me turn this down a bit. Okay, so he dropped. What he's looking down at is not a misfire. He never fired it. He's looking at the bubble. So there's a range bubble, right? That tells you trajectory, so you know what distance you're shooting.
Mm-hmm.
You aim left or right with your thumb, and you look down at the bubble for distance. He was looking down. He never fired it. He was staring down at the bottom. So he hangs it, drops it. He drops it. If you look at his right hand, he's looking at the bubble. He's not firing it at all. And he's not paying attention to the guy fucking dropping rounds. So that's what happened right there. So if you look, this dude is lucky. His hands are fucked up. I guarantee it. There's no way that his hands aren't fucked up. He's lucky he has hands at all.
At a minimum. Yeah, true.
But that was completely on the fucking gunner not communicating with a guy putting rounds in it. So that's the thing with the 60s. The 60 millimeters, You can trigger them and shoot him. He never did. He was too hyper focused on the bubble. And when you're the guy loading the round, when everybody around you is shooting, it's very hard to tell that your guy shot or not. Especially with how close together they are on the gun line when they're doing a fire for effect. It's hard to tell because all these mortars are going off around you. And you don't know that your guy didn't shoot yet. And so, I don't know. A lot of this is on the gunner. His lack of situational awareness. He was too focused on his range. And then he checked his deviation. And then he fired. He wasn't looking at the guy putting rounds in.
I sent this to my Marine friend. He used to be a mortarman in the Marine Corps. He's had like 2 different combat deployments and everything. I'm interested to see what he says.
He'll probably say the same fucking thing I said.
Yeah. It's going to be like, the fuck are they doing? Because he was like one of those Marines that the Marine Corps needed to keep because he was like, fuck all the stupid shit, but he was the one that would actually properly train you.
Yeah, so the thing is like the amount of time that he spent doing his corrections. Now, here's the thing about a fire for effect. Fire for effect is not supposed to be completely accurate. Most of these,
you're sending down rounds downrange,
right? So when you do a fire for effect, you hang, you look, you once the round drops, you feel it drop, you get a quick look, fire. It should only take a few seconds to do it. This guy took way too much time because he wanted to try to get it as precise to the range as he possibly could. Now, when it comes to a fire for effect, it's basically like a 50 to 100 meter spread, essentially. What do you?
He just said, "Yeah, that's not how you're supposed to do that."
Yeah, I know.
It's just so simple.
It's not at all how you're supposed to do that. Like that gun, the fucking dude on the tube, he absolutely is responsible for that whole thing happening. So it is completely on him. And yeah, I fired one of those. They're kind of fun.
I've never done mortars. I've only been to a mortar range as like safety coverage.
What is this guy's yelling about?
Suitcases, the fucking.
What? Are you squirreling off on TikTok right now?
I am. Hang on.
Stop bringing suitcases, the fucking boot camp.
That was a Navy chief.
Yeah, because people do that fucking shit, dude. Like I understand maybe having like maybe a little tiny backpack or something with like the stuff, the clothes or whatever that you're taking there. If at all, if anything, depending on where you're coming from, right? If you're coming from like a long way away and you gotta stay in the hotel at MEPS, then you gotta fly, and maybe you have like a layover or something. You may have like a change of clothes or something, right? And you got a tiny bag for that. Cool. I totally understand, depending on where, because the Navy boot camp is only one fucking place, so you come from all around the country. But people will literally bring like a fucking suitcase full of shit, like a luggage bag. Like they're gonna keep that shit. Yes.
Why?
They're idiots. I went to boot camp with nothing. I had the phone in my pocket, and that was it, dude. That's all I fucking took.
I brought a backpack. That was it.
I didn't have shit.
I brought a backpack so that I could have, because I knew when I was done, I was probably going to, like, I needed something I had a bunch of paperwork from MEPS, and I didn't want to carry that shit around. So I brought a backpack to put it in. And I also brought, like, soap. I was staying in a hotel for, like, a day or two. And I just brought, I brought personal hygiene shit and, like, a few changes of fucking underwear.
I had my wallet. I think I might have had like a little address book. And I was like, that was it.
I brought what I needed for 3 days. That's it.
I didn't have anything. Because when I went to boot camp, they used to send everything away. Everything that you came with, you would box up and ship back home. Yeah,
well, for me, it was like there was a room that they kept our backpacks in. So
now they do that. They do keep their stuff at boot camp now. So like when they graduate, they get their whatever they came with, and they take it with them, which I thought would have been fucking perfect. Because if I got lucky because my grandmother was 4 hours away. She could drive to my graduation in Indiana. So she drove. I was able to get my phone, and everything. We put it in this like locker that was off base because I was going across the fucking street to school. And when I left, I went back to that locker, picked my stuff up to my barracks. But now they keep their stuff. So like whatever, like you bring your phone or whatever, they keep it there, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I wish it was the way there. I literally had to send everything back, like the clothes on my back, my phone. I could keep my wallet and everything that was in there, but all of that shit. Like we made that last phone call, like, hey, I'm here. Sent that shit home.
Dude, I see if I would have joined the Navy, it would have been easy for me to send shit home because I lived close.
I mean, it's easy. We all send it off at the same time.
Right. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't even have to do that. I could just fucking, get dropped off in the clothes that I'm wearing in my wallet and paperwork.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And that was fucking it. So, like, and it's funny.
You wouldn't have even taken a plane. You probably would have been bust down.
Yeah, I definitely would have been bust down. It's funny because I brought a belt, even though I never wore belts at that time. I brought a belt because I knew I brought a belt for one reason alone. And that was I knew I was going to lose weight in basic and that the clothes that I did have were not going to fit. And I was right. My pants I was drowning in my fucking pants. Like, I was like, dude, I don't fit in these fucking pants anymore. And I was like, I'm glad I got a belt. So the first thing I did on my family weekend was I went to the mall and bought new clothes because I had nothing. I bought like 2 shirts because the shirt that I had was an XL or a large, and I didn't fit in large anymore. I fit in medium when I got out of basic training. So I needed new clothes. Like, I just needed a whole new clothes. And, like, I bought those stupid fucking graduation shirts. One was for, like, sentimental reasons because it had everybody's name on the back. The typical basic training shirt. So
yeah.
One of those things that you buy and you put away and you never fucking wear it because it's stupid.
You never see it again.
you only see it, like, when you're showing it to, like, your fucking wife or your kids or something. You, like, pull it out of a box 20 years later and be like, remember this day. And that's as far as it ever fucking gets, and you never fucking touch it again.
Boot wearing that shit,
and it's and you know why it always looks shitty? It's because they let the fucking recruits design it.
Yes, yeah,
like,
they do the same thing.
They get the most artsy person to draw it up, and it
always looks like shit.
And it always looks like shit, unless you get a very lucky class where a dude was a graphic designer before he joined the military. And he ends up making some fucking shirt where you're like, I'd wear that anyway, because that's fucking nice. You never get that. It's always like the guy that's like, yeah, I used to be a tattoo artist, and he like draw, and
I know how to draw.
He's like, I used to be a tattoo artist, so I know what I'm doing. And then he makes like something that looks like a fucking half-drawn dick, and it's like supposed to be a bulldog.
And it never looks as good on the shirt as it does on paper either.
Never, absolutely never. I want to find it now. It's somewhere. It has to be somewhere.
I know for a fact I don't have mine. If I do still have it, it's at my grandmother's house.
I found those, like, because there was a clothing company that always would show up to these boot camps and basic trainings that sell like these fucking like super patriotic, artsy fartsy looking shirts. And I'm sure you guys had it too, but they would have like a whole like table showing all the shirts that they have and all the designs that they have, and you're just like, I want to buy that. And
we just have the Next that sells it, the Navy Exchange.
It's the same shit like that there. And they got like, they look like affliction shirts, but they're fucking like U.S. Army or whatever the fuck.
Stupid.
We call it bootwear.
And all the parents, they got like, I'm a Navy mom, I'm a Navy dad.
Honestly, that is to be expected. It's the cringy bootwear that you see like
that
boots.
too. That's all there too. They have that on the student side though.
Right. So like you have all the cringy fucking clothing that you're just like, when you see a fucking new private or a boot come in wearing that shit.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why?
I refused until I was able to go home and get some actual clothes. I didn't go out in public. I just had my uniform and shit because I was like, I'm not wearing this. I'm not doing it. I know what it looks like.
I had my mom bring clothes that I had that didn't fit me before I left because they did fit me when I was done.
I was skinny before I left.
I was not skinny when I shipped off. I was roughly around the same weight that I am now.
I feel so bad for my grandma though, because I was stupidly engaged at the time to a terrible person. And like all I wanted to do was fuck her on the graduation weekend at the hotel. And my grandmother fucking drove her. And she was just a bitch to my grandmother.
Dude, this sounds a lot like what happened with me. Like
God, I felt so bad because all I wanted to do, like, I was happy for seeing my grandma, but I was more like, I want to get laid. And I was more about like spending time with her because, you know, you're 18. You're like, I'm out of the house. I was with you for 18 years. I want to see you. And like, I'm happy you're here. But
for me, so the chick I was dating at the time, the whole plan was I was going to dump this chick in basic training because it was the BPD chick. She was crazy. And I did not want to be with her anymore.
Oh, because most of our people had the same disorder.
So when I shipped off, the only thing I could think about was like, maybe I'm going to keep her around so I can just get laid. And my mom, and the same story, my mom, my brother, and his girlfriend came to, and my girlfriend at the time came to see me after graduation. And
was he in the National Guard yet?
No. This is before he was still in high school.
Okay.
They all came up, they came down to Oklahoma to see me and spend family weekend with me. And I just never left the room. They went off and did activities with each other while me and my girlfriend at the time stayed back at the hotel. And I was
that's so much worse than me. Because we actually like went out and did some stuff.
I completely abandoned my family just to get laid. And the thing was, it was similar to how your experience was, how your girl was being a bitch to your grandma. My girl was being a bitch to my mom and my brother and shit.
Oh yeah.
Down and back the whole way. My mom could not wait to get her out of the fucking car.
My grandma didn't tell me for years that she hated her, and I was like, why didn't you tell me back then?
I did apologize to my mom later. I was like, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I definitely did.
Like,
I did it when Steph went. I was like, why didn't you tell me that you hated her for years? Like, it's something that I wanted to know. Like, that mattered to me. I was like, if my family doesn't necessarily, like, generally, I don't actually care. But, like, I wouldn't have brought them around, at least.
Yeah, and then after graduation, once they got home, I found out, my mom told me how horrible she was to everybody on the trip. And then I called her and dumped her. I
didn't find out until I was
I'm
like
gonna get this on the road now.
My grandma didn't tell me that she didn't like her. And I was like 6 years in the Navy already.
Don't you love that?
Don't that would have been great information.
Don't you love when your family tells you things years afterwards and it's like, why didn't you tell me sooner? I could have done something about this. And they're like, well, you didn't think you'd listen to us.
Oh yeah, that's 100% what she said too. She's like, oh, I didn't
think you would listen.
Make those decisions for yourself. I'm like, yeah, I just wouldn't have brought her around.
I don't know. Well, anyway, that was it. That was all we had.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Like the video.
Yeah. So guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Have me on when you're jerking in the background. I don't know. Like Netflix. That's
usually how I do it.
Like, the memes, Netflix, are you still there? And it's like me and someone's daughter and shit like that. Those memes where it's like, are you still watching? And you're like in, the background. If you want me as background noise, fucking hey. I mean, everybody tells me they like the way my voice sounds.
Those are always the worst ones where like you're in mid pump and it's Netflix just shuts off and says, are you still watching? You got to like stop and hit continue.
See, for me, it's more Netflix. Are you still there? And I'm passed the fuck out. And there's nothing.
Let me decide when I'm done.
No, because here's what I do. I pause what I'm watching.
I don't. I'll intentionally put something I know I don't care about on because I'm going to fall asleep.
The background noise is distracting, so I pause it.
Oh no, I sleep with podcasts.
I sleep with two. There are two things that help me sleep. That's Viking folk music and death metal.
That's terrible. That's very strange.
Yeah, I'm a strange person. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us again, guys. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I hope you guys had a great week. Have a good rest of your week. Tune in for the next episode.
Socks, drink your water.
Doing the next episode might end up having to happen in the middle of the week because there's going to be a couple of weeks where I'm gone, and that's I leave next Monday. So, and this episode will be out.
Just put the date. Say the date. They're going to be like next Monday. and it'll be passed.
You know what? I'm gonna put this out like on a normal day. So I actually might put it out earlier. Who knows? So yeah, and the next episode after this one will be put out when it's fucking out. Let's just put it that way. So thanks, guys. Love you all. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.